welcome to our community of practice for graduate apprenticeship work-based mentors. I'm assuming that everybody that's on the call this morning is a mentor of a graduate apprentice here at Heriot-Watt. It's great to see so many of you that are able to join us, and hopefully numbers will continue to increase. They can just join when they're able to. For those of you that I don't know, my name's Jen Henderson and I'm the Head of Talent Partnerships here at Heriot-Watt, and I'm running this session with the graduate apprenticeship team. We will be recording this session, so please make sure your cameras and mics are switched off for the presentation parts and when we're kind of all in the same room, but please switch them on when we have our breakout session. We've got a breakout session later on and they work much more effectively if you can put your cameras and your mics on and get involved and engaged in those. Please also feel free to ask any questions you have throughout the session. If anything comes to mind or there's a point you want to make, then please add it to the chat. We'll answer them throughout the session. There might be some points that we pull out when we get to the feedback part. We run these work-based mentor communities of practice a couple of times a year ordinarily. This is part of the resources and support that we give to you as work-based mentors. We're very, very aware how important our mentor community is to the success of our graduate apprentices. And so we've established this forum to support you in your role as work-based mentors. It's an opportunity for you to engage with us as a university, but more importantly, it's an opportunity for you to engage with your peers, either from the same business or across businesses, and understand and share good practice of work-based mentors. And the agenda today, as it is every time, is focused on feedback that you've given us on topics that you want to have more information on, have a collaboration session on, and share best practice about. So I will run through the agenda for today. First of all, there's myself with the welcome and the agenda, giving the overview of the session. Then Lisa is going to give us a bit of feedback and progress that we've made from the last community of practice and our engagement with you, anything that's changed, any updates. David will then run us through the support and resources that are available for you as work-based mentors. We do share this at the start of each academic year and they are always available for you, but it's never a bad thing to kind of reiterate what there is. Then we'll move into our breakout session. The topic this time is communication, and it's looking at best practices for communication. So we'll get a chance to hear from you what's working well, what you're having challenges with, what could be improved. Then we'll all come back together to the same room and share our feedback from that breakout session, and then look at what is available. And there's a chance for you to ask any other questions that we haven't covered at the end. So without any further ado, Lisa, I'm going to hand over to you.
Morning everyone, my name's Lisa Smith and I'm one of the project managers for graduate apprenticeships. So I'm just going to briefly talk you through some feedback we got at our last community of practice event online, which was actually held in March last year, the issues raised and then the progress that we've made since and what other resources are available to you guys as work-based mentors. Firstly, one of the common themes was that work-based mentors like to have regular and structured communication between employers, apprentices and the university, as well as opportunities to work together. So as Jen's just alluded to there, the theme of this community of practice is communication, because it was quite a heavy topic that appeared on the last community of practice. So I just want to talk you through a couple of things that we're potentially looking at and some takeaway sessions that you can take into your breakout session as well. We did look at setting up monthly online drop-in session Teams events for work-based mentor collaboration, and we can look at sharing more information in that. But it's just to get an appetite for that from amongst the work-based mentor community and what you think that would look like. So if you want to just drop into the chat now whether you think you would have an interest in that or no, so that's just a yes or a no. So that would look like a monthly kind of drop-in session. It would be a regular structured session. It would be in once a month for you guys just to kind of drop in. You might have any questions or queries that are ongoing. So if you can drop that into the chat, yes or no, whether you think that would be of use to you or whether there would be an appetite for that. And again, you might want to take that away further into your discussions in your breakout groups. Work-based mentors also fed back they would like the university to provide more information on support for work-based mentors and their students. And we're going to be discussing this in a little bit further detail on David's next slide. There also was a small interest from a small number of work-based mentors that expressed an interest in attending an on-campus student induction. We did look into that Though the students, so your apprentice will have their induction done online. There isn't necessarily one at the moment for work-based mentors. But what we did do is programme directors were preparing an agenda and a schedule in advance for the student induction to be sent out to all employers in the advance of itself. And also what we did this year is we had an on-campus mentor skills workshop as opposed to the induction. So there's been some progress and changes made to that. We also introduced a mentor landing page, which has a list of frequently asked questions, and David and the team have worked really hard on updating that, and that's a really useful link, and that's been sent out to all work-based mentors. And in the next slide, David again will talk that through you in more detail, but if you don't have access to that, again, please let us know, because you should do. There was also feedback that it was important for the university to provide regular reports on student progress. So 2 things in that: it's really important as a work-based mentor that you're attending the tripartite ILE meetings, which take place with yourself, your student and their PT. And they are ongoing. And also you should all be very, very familiar now with our end of semester reports that are sent out to discuss key areas of your of the students' progress. So that's our regular reports on student progress and communication would be your 2 main streams, would be your ILE meeting and your end of semester reports as well. For those of you that were on the last community practice meeting, one of our PDs, Odin, spoke about and presented on the importance of ILE meetings and that tripartite relationship of those meetings. That presentation was sent out to all work-based mentors, but is also now on the landing page as well. So if you weren't able to attend the last community practice, I would urge you to go back and look in that, because it was a really great presentation that Odin gave us. And then just as one last feedback and progress that we're making, we have now got a dedicated student success team being rolled out. This is a new team, very, very early doors, started in January, and they're now on phase 3 of the rollout. They will be there as an additional support for graduate apprentices, and it will be a dedicated resource for student support and student success. What that looks like is all getting mapped out at the moment, but it is an additional support for GAs as well as other online students. So just a couple of things, if you can take away the question about on-campus inductions and whether you feel that's relevant. Have a chat about the monthly drop-in sessions if you've not had a chance to answer in the chat there. And I'm going to pass you over to David now, who is going to introduce the work-based mentor landing page, just for emphasis on what's available for you guys. Thanks, David.
Thanks, Lisa. Yeah, we'll cover off, and I just want to expand on a couple of things that Lisa said there. So as Jen sort of mentioned at the top of the call, like, mentors are essential to the success of the apprentices, and that's why at Heriot-Watt we place a lot of importance on the support we provide for our work-based mentors. So just this slide, really just a quick recap on what we offer and how some of that has evolved more recently. So for the past couple of years, we have run a dedicated mentor induction online at the start of the academic year. Now, so while mentors are also part of the general and programme-specific inductions, these mentor inductions are specifically designed really to give an overview of the requirements and the roles and responsibilities of a work-based mentor, and they're now part of just our regular calendar of things that we deliver. Alongside that, for a number of years, we have also been running mentor skills awareness sessions. So these have proved very, very popular with new mentors, and existing mentors is maybe a bit of a refresh. Now, based on feedback from our mentor community last year, we evolved these into much more in-depth and interactive, longer form workshops. We enlisted the help of our colleagues here, of a couple of mentoring and coaching experts from our learning and development team. So between end October and early November last year, we held 1 face-to-face on-campus session and 3 online versions of that, which was delivered over Teams. now. So I think over the course of those 4 sessions, we had almost up to 60 mentors on those sessions, split over them. Now, the feedback for those was really, really positive, so much so that this year we're looking to not only replicate that, but the plan is to have 2 face-to-face sessions and 2 online sessions, and we'll confirm the dates for that over the next few months once we've just sorted that. But it'll be round about the same sort of time in the calendar. Okay, then just to finish it off in terms of the mentor. So Lisa's mentioned this already, and we'll send round a link again. Yeah, we'll send around a link in the slides after this call to everybody that's here. So the mentor landing page really is just your sort of one-stop shop for accessing to all different resources. So recordings of this, there's a recording of a shorter form version of the mentor skills awareness. Those are the recordings that Lisa mentioned there about sort of specific bits of like Odin's presentation from the last time. There's also just a wee reminder of the sort of key skills, the key points of being a mentor and the responsibility. So it's a really handy, as I say, one-stop shop for as a reference for all the various resources we have for this. And obviously, once this is done today, we'll have a recording of this session and we'll then upload that onto the mentor landing page as well. But if you don't have the link or you can't find the link, we'll make sure that everybody has it after the call today. So I think that's really all to cover off on the support. Just to say that we're always looking to help to improve the support, and we can all just continue to evolve that and make sure you keep having access to the various bits that you need. So I think that's me. I shall go back to Jen just to outline the breakout session.
Okay, thanks, David. Quite a lot of information to take in there. Hopefully some of you have been able to join the Mentor Skills Workshop and you are able to access and making good use of the materials that are on the landing page for you. And if there's anything that you can't find, then please ask us, but we will share links to everything again. I think it's always better to have things 2 or 3 times in case you just can't find it. It makes it easier for you to access things and for us to give you the support. So we're actually running a little bit ahead of time, and I'm noticing that the numbers are slightly different than we were expecting this morning. So I don't know how that will affect the breakout rooms. Might be quite small groups, or there might be fewer of us. We'll just see what happens when we get to that point. So we're going to do a breakout session. So this is where we want to really hear from you and hear your ideas, your suggestions, what's working well from you. The topic this time, as we've said, is about communication. We will automatically break you into the groups. Don't worry, you don't have to do anything. You will automatically be whisked away to another room. There will be a member of the GA team in that room to facilitate the discussion. But we're really, the people that we're really keen to hear from is yourselves as work-based mentors, because this is about your opportunity to share your experience, what's working well, any challenges that you've got, and come up with any shared solutions if there are challenges. There'll be 3 questions that we ask you to cover. When we come back to the main room again, we will go through those and get your feedback and any actions that we agree to take forward. It might be actions for you as an individual, might be actions for us. Who knows where the discussion will go or what suggestions we come up with. So we spoke the last time about the importance of regular relevant communication from the university. We've actioned a lot of that. We had some great examples on the last community practice with one employer sharing their live playbook and onboarding documents that they use. So we really want to have a deeper discussion about that just now. So I am going to not preempt each of the discussion groups. We'll get the questions when we get to them. And Megan, I think you are going to whisk us all away to different rooms now, and there'll be about 20 minutes and then we'll all come back together. Okay. Thank you. We got an announcement 30 seconds, and I think Ruth was going to say something. But Ruth, if we didn't get to your point and I don't cover it in the feedback, then please feel free to chip in when we get to that stage. So thank you everyone for engaging in the breakout session. Hopefully there's some good points to cover. The way I'm going to, we all had 3 questions. I will hold my hand up and say my group only got through 2 of the 3 questions. And the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to look at the 3 questions and ask for feedback from each group, and then we'll just add on anything to it. So there's no point in us going over if everybody said similar things, then that's just to know that you had similar themes will be sufficient. If there's anything different that you have to add, then please feel free and say, well, actually we found something completely different, or we've got another suggestion. So for the first question, which was what communication approach do you use with your GA? This is the order that the group I was in did them. What communication approach do you use with your GA? What's working well? What best practices do you have to keep up to date with their progress? And what are the main topics that you need to discuss? Dan, I'm going to ask whoever is feeding back from your group to kick us off with the thoughts on that.
Yep, so Bobby, you able to give us some feedback on that?
Yeah, so both Stephen and I had similar feelings about the communication part. I think we both, in our respective situations, are very close to our trainee. I know I speak multiple times a day with mine, and I think Stephen does as well. And so it's building on that relationship and being close enough to get a sense of what they're doing from day to day, not just in the workplace, but at university. So we talk about that on a kind of constant basis. We're on the road quite a bit together. And I know Stephen's trainee is kind of sitting next to him and kind of shadowing him almost. So I use OneNote as well. I have a shared folder with Luke, my apprentice. So I get to see what he's doing with university as kind of in a live kind of context. And I asked him to do a kind of a weekly journal as well, just so I get to see how he perceives his own workload and how he's getting on. And that seems to work quite well. Lots of challenges given to him, and he just seems to knock them out of the park. But it's that relationship piece and getting close enough to sense when things are not firing in all cylinders, so to speak. When and that's when you kind of jump in and just probe a little bit deeper and find out what's going on. So, but all in all, really happy with the communication methods that we've got in place there.
Thanks, Bobby. That sounds really positive. Arlene, can I ask if there's anything other than that or anything additional from your group, if whoever's feeding back from your group would like to contribute that now?
Yep, so we're a small but perfectly formed group, just George and I, George from Diageo. George, do you want to add anything in addition to what Bobby said?
I think that captured it fairly well, and just sharing my own experience, we have regular weekly meetings, they're structured, we have Teams call because my student or my mentee is in a different location. But then we have a one-to-one face meeting on a monthly basis. The thing is, focus on the relationship, trust, openness, and things usually will not flow as structured, but the best thing is to make sure that the mentee is on track and is able to juggle between work and university.
Thank you, George.
Great, thank you.
Jen, sorry, just quickly, do you want me to just stop sharing and then so that that's not distracting and then people can just say what they like? Or do you just want me to keep the
We'll
screen
just keep
on?
the slide up, David. We'll just stick with it as it is. I won't see everybody on the screen anyway. Okay, Greg, anything else to add from your group?
You've covered off most things, but I don't know, Alexander or Ruth, do you want anything you want to add?
No, I think the themes that have been raised so far generally cover the points. I think the three of us from a mentorship perspective on our breakout group all seem to have good communication in terms of with the people that we are mentoring through our regular meeting cycle, etc. So yeah, I think just reiterating what's already been said in terms of that relationship between the mentor and the student seem to be working well.
Great, thank you. And Steve, anything else from from your group to add that's,
Okay,
that's different or adds value?
I'll ask, our rep was Lynn, so I'll ask Lynn, any other feedback from the points already raised?
We probably took a slightly deeper dive into communication channels, looking at a broader approach, not just, we've touched on everything everybody said about one-to-ones, but we looked at slightly not as linear approach as well, but from people getting insight into communication channels with others. So exposure to learning opportunities and stretch opportunities. People spoke about wider supply chain exposure to more external environments, other offices, from a regional approach. So not just from a one-to-one, and then how they circle back and get that reassurance from their direct relationship with their mentors and that as well. So we looked at that, not just that linear approach, but insight and exposure and communication channels with others as well. So we looked at that in addition to what everybody else has said.
Great,
Thanks,
thank you for adding that. And from the group that I was with, we had pretty similar themes, regular contact, kind of one-to-one, and as part of the teams. And really the topics that the mentors focus on is how is the GA progressing with their studies? Is all going well? Are there any bumps? Is there anything on the horizon? Making sure that they have access to their network to get the experience that they need, helping them to keep track of their own progress. I think that came through quite strongly in our group, was that the role of the mentor is to help the GAs to see their own progress, and that works well in terms of communication. So I'm going to move on to the second question, and that's about the communication with ourselves as the university, both with the academic team and the GA team. And I'll do it in a different order this time so that every group has the chance to go first. So let's do it in reverse order. Lena, you're feeding back on behalf of Steve's group. Do you have anything in there to add or to outline in the approach that you use in your communication with the university?
So I think this, if I've got the question right, is this in relation to things like the actual academic, like the ILA reviews, etc.
Yep.
So we found that there wasn't a need or a desire to have any more than what individuals were already facing into. That it was beneficial. What people already had. They felt that the quality was sufficient enough, and that they were happy with the level that was there. So nothing more. Be succinct. That's it. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Lynn. Oh, I think you've frozen. Either you've frozen or I've frozen. Okay, that's fine. Greg, is there anything to add from your group?
Again, guys, from my group, do you want to add anything additional?
Sorry, it's Richie here. Just on behalf of the group, I think in terms of the communication directly with the academic staff and through the business relationship management, my own particular feeling was really good. And us as a company have got involved in a lot of initiatives which have then helped to build up the kind of network, which has really served us well, I think. So we get invited to attend a lot of stuff, to give insight, good and bad, about the graduate apprenticeship scheme, but it's really just about growing together. So I would just encourage everyone to try and get involved with as many initiatives as you can, just to bolster your understanding of what Heriot-Watt can offer, and where you can then go if there's any issues or anything you need to explore. So I think it's a two-way thing, not just expecting Heriot-Watt and maybe the academic people to drive everything, but also getting engaged and trying to see what's on offer, because there is a lot on offer, and it helps overall, I think, the graduate apprenticeships in the long run, because you then understand the way everything works. So that was something, but I realise it's not like that for everyone. So it's really about more of these communication things that allow us to understand what's on offer, and then get involved as much as we can, which benefits the graduate apprenticeship ultimately, I think, would be the thing I would say.
Great, thanks, Richie. That's some really important points, and you've jumped ahead to the next question as well. Arlene, is there anything that you or George would like to add to what's already been said?
I think When we were talking about, thanks, Jen. When we were talking about it, George, would you agree? We went kind of straight. It was the last one we looked at, because you're a new mentor of a couple of months. We went straight in for the kind of what do you feel the mentor role is up to this point in, for example, the ILA meetings? Do you just want to talk a little bit more, George, about what you were saying in terms of that?
Yeah, so I have had only one ILA meeting so far. I kind of sat back and listened as the mentee updated on progress and what is intended to do. Of course, before that, we had the preparation meeting together. So, but in terms of communication with academic staff, all that we noted was we just need to allow for more time for that communication to happen between ourselves. In terms of the frequency of the meeting, I agree. Once per quarter or per semester is sufficient.
Okay, thank you, George. It's always helpful when you've been through the cycle once as a mentor, then you know what to expect the next time, and you can maybe have more of an input. Who have I not come to? Dan, haven't come to your group.
Bobby?
Yeah, yeah, the sessions with the personal tutor have been useful for me just to get their take on Luke's progress. So I would like to obviously continue with that. I think there is one small gap I would like to see filled if possible, and that's to get feedback from the university on how they think the apprentice is doing. I don't know if that's practical or not. I do believe what my apprentice tells me, but you know, I've caught him out on some of the work-based activities, and he's missed a couple of bits there. So it's quite possible he's missed something from the kind of uni work. And to get that feedback from the Heriot-Watt, I think would be quite useful for me.
Okay, do you see the end of semester reports, Bobby, for
I've
your mentee?
I've not had one. I've not had one yet. So
okay, we can have a look into that. It might just be timing and where your mentee is, where your GA is at, but we can certainly have a look at that, because the end of semester reports would be that kind of consistently across all of the programs. It's just, you know, it's a RAG rating system. You should be able to see them for your mentee. They may not go to every mentor directly from us, but they should be cascaded to you from within the business if they go to a different employer contact. And your GA definitely has them. So that lets you see if everything's on track, or if there's something that you maybe needs a bit of intervention, or if there's an issue coming up. So they're helpful.
Well, that's what I'm looking for. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So you should get them at consistent points at the end of each semester. We can have a look at yours specifically offline after this call. And from the group that I was with, I'm just going to add our feedback to that. Really was similar themes. The ILA meeting structure works well. Some of our mentors haven't had any reason to contact the university, so their only real engagement has been through the ILA meetings. They know where we are if they do need to get in touch with us, and generally it seems to work pretty smoothly. So that's, I think, in terms of summary. Lisa, do you want something to add something?
Yeah, it's just while we were on ILA meetings, Jen, before I forget, because we had the discussion about it in our group, and I did say that you and I would take the point away to the next academic board. So a few in our group hadn't actually had any ILA meetings. So what I was explaining to the work-based mentors is a lot of the PTs, the encouragement is that the GA will organise their own ILA meeting, and they really should be pushing for that. But I know that can vary from PT and school to school. So I did say that you and I would take that conversation away with regards to ILAs and what is the consensus of opinion among PDs about who should be leading and organising that. And on end of semester reports, just as you said there, they go out to the main contact within the organisation, but we do ask for them to be disseminated down to the work-based mentors if it doesn't go to them. But the key point that Jen just made there is they do go to the student first and foremost, so the student does get sight of that. So if it's not going to you, you can get that directly via your students at the key dates throughout the years at the end of semester reports. So yeah, it was just on the 2 points while we were talking about them.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. Sorry, I didn't realise you had a group. I thought we had changed the rooms. Was there anything from the first point that you wanted to add as well?
I just nosed on in Greg's group. That was all. Just kind of listening in the background.
Okay. So I'm going to summarise the first two questions, and then we'll come on to the last question, because that might help us to lead into what's available. So in terms of the communication approach between mentors and GAs, that's the first question that we're looking at. Regular contact, cadence that works for the GAs and works for your business, both operationally as part of your teams and about the university study. That's kind of consistent across all of the mentors in all of the groups. The structure and format will be different, but you do all have that regular communication, and it's working pretty well. You understand who the GAs are at, you encourage them to keep a track of their own progress, and you encourage them to, you know, speak up if there's something that they're struggling with or something else that they need in relation to the work. And really what a lot of you are doing is you're helping to join the dots between the university study and the workplace, and that's exactly what the work-based mentor's role is. So it sounds as if that is working pretty well in terms of communication. For the second question, communication with the university, maybe a bit of inconsistency around the ILAs that we'll look at and who should be driving those. They do seem to be working well where they are in place and you're comfortable and familiar with. If there's any issues, we need to do some checking with you, and if you're not seeing the end of semester reports, please ask your GAs for these. They definitely get them. You knowing as the mentor that they do get them, and when they're coming out at the end of each semester might help to prompt that question to say, what was in your end of semester report? Is everything on track? If you're not already having those conversations, and anything kind of specific you can pick up with us as the university, I think, is a summary. I don't think I've missed anything in that one. So the final question before we close this part of the session off is looking at how can we communicate better together. What would be, you know, and we never got to this question in my group, so we have nothing to contribute to this unless any of the participants see something and they want to chip in. Are there any suggestions of ways that would be beneficial for you to communicate with a network of mentor peers? Certainly. So in fact, I'm not going to preempt anything. Greg, I'm going to come to you first this time.
Okay, again, anyone from our group want to raise their thoughts?
I can jump in. I think we were, and please jump in the rest if you want to come in. In terms of what we felt would work well, I think we felt that it would be useful to have some form of contact, regular contact, and that actually if we had some space in the diary that was a drop-in space, that would be quite good. I think we all felt that there was something to be gained by sharing amongst the mentors, because we'll all come across different situations, and it's nice to have somewhere to take that, and maybe in a slightly safer space, or also just to allow people to share experiences or something that they've done to inform everyone else. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know, so it's good to hear there's other ways to do things, and that might work for your students. So yeah, we had different suggestions of how things could work, so but definitely involving the university, even if it was the mentors sharing. There was a feeling that facilitation role was there as well.
Okay, thank you. Dan, anything to add from your group?
Yeah, Bobby.
I think these workshops are useful as long as there's not too many of them, because we're all busy. I know with myself and Stephen, we're on site a lot, we're traveling a lot, so you know, they're not too intense, so it's workable. I liked what Susan had said there about having a portal or a platform where we can share experiences, where we can drop in and out. I think that would be quite useful. So yeah, I like the way it is just now.
Okay, thank you, Bobby. George, I'm gonna bypass Arlene and come straight to you. See if there's anything else you want to add in.
Yeah, for this I felt because within our organization we have had many mentors, both current right now and past. I felt even within past, I could benefit, and even my mentee will benefit if we had regular sessions, not too regular, yes, but probably like a month to connect, and those who are more experienced could share with us some of the things to watch out or think about, and as well then connecting externally to the wider communities like the community of mentors here as well. But first I felt there is that opportunity within our organization to form that kind of support group.
Great, thank you, George. Steve, anything to add from your group?
I'll defer to Lynn.
We all felt that there was an opportunity there to connect, like everybody said, what that looks like. We didn't commit to. I guess the question is, whether that opportunity is a generic group or if there is that wider scope for actually pulling together something where it's more of mentors with a commonality of studies, I suppose. Are people aligned, and is there an opportunity where there's themes or concepts that come through where you can actually learn more deeper around that? That's something to take away, where you can actually align it back to the actual mentor, and the mentors can align it back to the trainees, and you actually get more benefit that way back to the trainees as well.
Okay, thank you for that. That's a good suggestion. We never got to this question in my group, so I'm going to just open it up to anybody that was in my group. If there's anything else you want to add, I'll give you a couple of seconds to add that just now before I wrap up. Nope, I'm taking it by the silence that there's nothing else to add. So what I'm hearing there is that it would be helpful. So we have the communities of practice. We do try and run these twice a year. It may be helpful to try running a drop-in session, maybe every month for mentors. I think picking up on the point that you made from your group, Lynn, that could be something that could evolve. I think if we try and overcomplicate it or overstructure it, we might end up with not enough mentors to make it viable. We could look at facilitating a drop-in session that is literally, if you've got a question to ask or something that you're finding challenging or something that's really great that you want to share, we could look at doing we could facilitate it, but we won't set an agenda for it. The agenda and the attendance and the uptake would be up to yourselves as mentors. So if we were to put them on, then it would be reliant on yourselves coming and saying, this is actually what I want to talk about. And literally that sort of informal conversation, chance to speak to your network, say, this is going really well, we're having a challenge with this. We may see that there's common themes either across programs or across mentors at a certain stage in their studies, or something that's common to mentors who are new to the business, or something that's common to mentors who've been an existing employee and taken it on. I think that might emerge over time. So we'll take that away as an action to have a look at, and how we could support you through setting that up. And David, I'm going to get you to bring us back to the agenda. Okay, thank you. So, sorry, David, were you going to?
No, I was just saying I've moved on now. So
you've moved on to the next one. So it kind of touches on, this was the theme for the last session, and we do have some resources. Maybe want to just go on to the darker slide, David, that outlines all the resources that we have. So we focused on the tripartite relationships on the last mentor community practice. I know a number of you that are on the call today weren't at that one, and we do have a recording of that. So if you are a new mentor or you weren't able to attend that session, then there is a recording of that session, the presentation from one of our program directors that went through it in quite a lot of detail about how to make the most of the tripartite relationship, why it's beneficial for your GA. So if that's something that you haven't seen, then it's definitely there for you. Really, what we look for as a GA is to be proactive. They organise their meetings well ahead of time. They make sure that they know what's expected of them. They ask for help if they need help. They might not need help, in which case we'd expect them to say that they don't need help. They attend their ILA meetings, and there's a lot of resources available for them. Everything that's in purple underneath the GA section there are resources that are available for the GAs. They may come to you as mentors saying, I don't know how to do this, I don't know what's expected of me. It's helpful for you to see that, and we'll share these slides afterwards, so that you can direct them back to the resources that are available for them. I think as a mentor, sometimes sometimes the role is to actually direct the GAs back to resources that are available and what they need to do for themselves and what the expectations are. I think you're all doing that really, really well, but it helps if you know or you get a reminder of what resources are there. So for yourselves as mentors, we're also looking for you to be involved with your GA, asking questions of them and the university. Make sure you speak to them. I don't think there's anybody on the call today who's not in regular contact with their GA from what we're seeing. Know where the landing page is, speak to us as a GA team, go back to the guidance if there's anything that you're not sure about, and please, if there's any questions, do get in touch with us. We're here to help you, to help your mentees, and make sure that it's successful. And just there at the end is an outline of the tutor responsibilities. So they'll all have a personal tutor from the university, and the role of the tutor is to provide the overview of the course needs and the assessments, make sure they've got all the academic information, give them their grades and their assessment feedback. They're also part of the ILA. The ILA meetings should be between yourself, your mentee, and the personal tutor. They will happen in a different way depending on the programmes. They'll happen on a different cadence depending on the programmes. And the personal tutor is the person who completes the end of semester reports. So you will that's the feedback from the personal tutor on how the GA is progressing. Again, they have roots into ourselves as a GA team, so there shouldn't be any surprises. You should have all of the resources that you need to support your GA. Sometimes you might have to ask them, sometimes they might forget that they have access to all of this and that you can see it as a mentor, but everything is there, and our role is really to help, to remind you that it is all there, and what you can access. So I think we are now going to move on to the Q&A. David, do you want to run through the mentor landing page? I know we kind of touched on it at the start, but some of the things that I think have come up may be covered with specific resources that are on the mentor landing page.
Sure. I'll probably have to start sharing my screen to find it. So if you can just chat amongst yourselves for a second, I'll
Sorry,
actually show the landing page.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful.
Sure, no problem. I'll just stop sharing this, and
I am putting you on the spot a bit. Apologies for that.
No problem.
Just might be helpful if anybody's not seen it to have a quick overview of it and how to navigate to it. And we will share that we'll share the slides and we'll share the link to the landing page after the meeting.
I'll just take me a sec.
That's okay.
Just
in the interim, if anybody have any other questions that they would like to ask us, please just raise your hand or pop your question into the chat. I've seen a couple of questions be asked and answered in the chat. If there's anything else, then now is the chance to raise that. That's okay, Alexander. Thank you for joining us.
I'll share my screen again. I have now found the page.
Thanks, David.
Yep, hope you can all see that now. So yeah, as I said before, this is your kind of one-stop shop. So just a bit of an intro, and what we've got here is just a recap on some of the responsibilities. This bit here, as I mentioned before, about the mentor induction, which is more about the responsibilities of a mentor. So that's the link to that recording of the most recent one back in September 25. And again, what we have here is not so much the responsibilities, but some of the sort of key skills. I think I mentioned earlier this link here, which I won't click on it because it will make the screen go funny, is a link to a recording of the sort of shorter form mentor skills awareness with us. So that lasts maybe 20-25 minutes, and those are sort of kind of the high level skills and like coaching and mentoring skills involved in making the most of that relationship with the mentee. And the other link below that is a copy of the slides that are on that presentation. Mentor community practice again, and so this has been referenced a few times. So this is a link to a recording of the previous session we had, and obviously after today we'll get this edited up and included on there so that we're we'll just keep a kind of a record of a kind of ongoing log of these, so you can be able to access multiple versions. And at the bottom of there is just some of the more frequently asked questions we have. We kind of sweep up these during the course of these sessions, so we just, to save them having to ask them repeated times, we've got some FAQs. Again, this just gets added to as the more of these community practices we have, we add to these. And again, this is the overview of the tripartite relationship has been referenced a couple of times. That's a link to that there, that particular part of the presentation. And then just it could be summary of why Mentor is a good thing for you to be doing. So yeah, that's the page. And I say that continually evolves. The more things that we do, the more recordings that we have, we just keep on adding to that. So yeah, as Jen and I've mentioned before, we will make sure we send a link to that out in the post-session follow-up. So I'll just stop sharing that.
Thanks, David. I just thought it was useful to run through that. I know that certainly there's a couple of fairly new mentors in the group that I was in, so they maybe not have had a chance to see the resources and see what's on the landing page. So are there any other questions that you have, that any of the mentors have that you would like to ask now? Not seeing any hands go up. I think we've answered all the ones that are in the chat. So I will then go to the team. Team, is there anything else that you want to add or to cover based on the discussions that we've had today?
Nothing for me.
Nothing for me.
No.
All fine.
Okay, in that case, I think we will wrap up there and give everybody 18 minutes back in their day. We're a bit ahead of time, but thank you for joining us. We'll certainly have a look at that action point. We'll summarise the key points from today, what seems to be working well. We'll pick up any specifics around the ILAs and the end of semester reports. Please ask your GAs. If you haven't seen an end of semester report and they're not coming to you through the business, then please ask whoever your business contact is and ask your GAs when they get their end of semester reports. They should definitely know that they come. And we will have a look into how we could set up a drop-in session. We have tried various things in the past that we've not had the uptake from for them to be sustainable. So what I will say is that we will look at setting that up, but it will be dependent on yourselves as the mentor community and hopefully the wider mentor community taking advantage of it for us to be able to sustain it. So we will be in touch to see what that is. So thank you very much for joining us, everybody, and have a good rest of your day.